Well, welcome back to Track is Our Field with Carl Kuntz and Don Pierce here after Easter weekend. Hope everyone had a good weekend and enjoyed Easter with the family and church time. Well, Carl, we're kind of in the heat of the battle right now. Track and field's rolling.
It sure
track
is.
meets have been going on. Weather was a little hot and a little windy the last week or so, but this week looks like it's going to be a beautiful week to have some track and field.
Yeah.
Starting out, we'd just like to thank some of our sponsors, Tommy Howard in Little Rock, Arkansas with Edward Jones. We want to thank Tommy for his sponsorship, longtime track coach that's gone to this field. Has always been a great help to us, and he's a travel advisor. I've been trying to get a trip lined up.
Edward Jones.
Financial advisor,
Yeah.
and we want to thank Tommy for that. And then,
Of course, the Arkansas Track Coaches Association, who fixed us up with some equipment to do our podcast on when we're out in the field. And, of course, Design Lab with Steve Qualls helps us up with our shirts, and sometimes we have a backdrop. So we appreciate those sponsorships.
well, Carl, let's get right at it. What's going on in track and field in Arkansas right now?
Well, we've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. I wanted to share with our audience here the state meet and the sites. So Class 6A will be on May the 7th. That's a Thursday in Jonesboro High School. Class 5A will be at Van Buren, also on May the 7th. Class 4A is on Tuesday, May the 5th in Clarksville. Class 3A is also on Tuesday, May the 5th in Ashdown. And Class 2A is on Wednesday, May the 6th at Quitman. And Class 1A is on May the 6th at Mineral Springs.
Those times in the field events kind of start at 10 in the morning. Is that correct?
Right.
We have the coaches meeting at 9, and then
Yeah. And mostly field events, coaches meeting at 9, and then we get started at 10 and with field events. And I believe it's 12 o'clock for the 4x800 meter relay. And then the next session of field events about that time as well. Right. And then we do run the 4x200 relay at something like 3:30, I believe it is. And then the rest of the running events start at 4:30. The reason for those things are to try to help athletes out. The 4x800 relay earlier allows them to recuperate to run their other distance events. The 4x200 relay earlier, which is out of the normal order of events, but it keeps those sprint events that so many of the kids run 100 hurdles, 4x1, all together. So it pulls that 4x200 early and
gives them
recovery time.
Yeah, just like we're doing for the distances.
Exactly.
And I think it's good. I mean, I think it's a good thing that we're doing there. I want to ask you a question. We'll throw you a curveball. We didn't talk beforehand. At this time of the year, Carl, what as a coach, former coach, in the years you had in it, what are you trying at this point? You know, we know we're getting close to May, kind of, sort of that way. What are you looking at as a coach right now? What are you trying to do to prepare your kids to get ready for conference that's going to be coming up in 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
right.
4 weeks? What is your mindset as a coach? What do you start trying to prepare?
That's a good question. And the training process, you're in full gear right now. I mean, you're doing lots of heavy training in spite of the fact that you're having some meets. And I think it's going to vary a little bit what your athlete has been, what their background has been. If they just came out of basketball, their training might be a little different than someone that you've had all the winter time there. But you're going to have some pretty good workouts. And the meets, in my mind, you don't want to put an athlete in a meet that is completely exhausted from a previous hard workout. But on the other hand, you can't afford to try to have your athletes fully rested for all these weekly meets that you have. You got to do some heavy training along with that earlier in the week, and of course you're going to back off a little more when you come down to the big meets, the state meet.
And that was what I was going to ask you. When do you start back? All right, districts coming up, let's say in a week and a half. So what do you start? How much tapering do you start doing at that time? I mean, are you backing off mileage? Or are you backing off?
Yes.
In type stuff.
You're going to have to, and there again, it depends on some of you got some athletes that maybe have reached that automatic qualifying standard. Maybe they're more superior. They may not rest quite as much for the conference meet because it's not quite as important. The main thing in the conference meet is to get there. Of course, if you're an athlete that's on the border, you got to be rested up at that conference meet, or you won't get to state meet.
Well, and that's it. I mean, it's just throwing that, well, man, we've got to be primed so we can qualify. We're in a tough district, so we've got to go in there full blast, ready to go just to qualify, because there's 4 kids in front of us that, on that type. I mean, those games that you have to play to decide, now with mile split, which is awesome to have, you can start seeing what everybody has done, where my kid fits in. Where back in the day, we'd get on the telephone and call, say, hey, did you hear what so-and-so's doing somewhere? Because I know he did last year. Trying to figure out where, okay, well, my kid plays here. What do I need to do? Especially if you didn't see them all year run. Around here, you knew Garland County and in Hot Springs County and that, you knew what those schools were doing, but you didn't know what was going on in Southwest Arkansas and Northeast Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas.
If you went back far enough, all you had to do is pick up the Wednesday Arkansas Gazette and find out. Because people let them know there, because people didn't keep secret. I mean, they wanted to be in that top 10 best performances that the Arkansas Gazette had.
Back in the day.
So if it wasn't in there, the coach is going to call it in and get in there.
And again, Robert Yates, when he was doing that, it was awesome. I mean, you could do that. There would be meets, results were in the paper, where you could see, okay, at Stuttgart, they had this is whatever the top, 3. Sometimes they cut it back just to the top 3. But they'd have 4 or 5 meets in there with the results.
Wadey Moore, too.
Wadey
Moore and Robert Yates back in those days. Wadey was the Arkansas Gazette, and Robert was the Arkansas Democrat before they consolidated. That's another thing, the beauty of the automatic qualifying standards. If you got, particularly some of your superior athletes, maybe he don't really have to worry about it. He may train a little bit more through that conference meet, because one, he's already qualified.
Well, talk about, and there's qualifying meets people out there might not know. When I was at CrossFit Arkansas, there were 4 of us guys that were all 14 to 15-foot vaulters.
Right.
But we only got to take 2 to state.
Right.
And we were at that point at CrossFit, we were the top 4 vaulters in the state of Arkansas. So 2 guys stayed home.
That could have been 3rd or 4th.
And should have had an opportunity to
even a chance to win, maybe.
Right. And then also, we, as this was starting to develop, we talked about, our district track meet, it's raining. A guy that's been I'm using pole vault, 15-foot vaulter, it's a bad day, hand slips off the pole. He no heights. He doesn't get to go to state. The thrower in the ring, it was slip. He slipped. He fouled 3 times. He doesn't get to go to state due to weather. And I think when that was brought up, that we wanted to look at putting in qualifying standards, and that's based now off of what? Tell them how this is based.
Well,
how we got.
It's funny you mentioned that. I talked to your old high school coach. When I remember, one of the reasons that I had the idea I'm the one that proposed the qualifying standards, and one of the reasons was, believe it or not, because of what happened to you guys in CrossFit. Because I remember talking to Coach Bobby Richardson about my ideas on it, and I had kind of briefed him on what I wanted to do, and then I proposed it at the AAA advisory committee meeting, and I was appointed to be the chairman of a committee. Coach Richardson was on it. There's about 5 of us. We met there at the AAA office all morning, and we worked out with that little paragraph how to qualify standard. My proposal was actually based on 6th place, because we were placed in 6 places at the time. My theory was, if you're good enough to have performed what normally takes, what places 6th place, you deserve to be there, regardless of what conference you were in. And my idea was not so much trying to take care of people who bombed out at the conference meet, although it does that. It was to take care of people, like in your case, that were the maybe you're the 3rd best shot putter in the state of Arkansas, but all 3 of them from your conference.
Right.
And you don't get to go. And I felt like you need to be able to go not only for as an individual performance, but also for your team. It has team situation too. So after the committee, we felt like 6 may be too light, so we landed on 3rd. After much discussion, we decided 3rd performance.
And that's based off the state track meet results.
For 5 years, the last 5 years.
Average for 3rd place. So if pole vault averaged out in 5A at 14 feet for 3rd place, now that's if you hit that qualifying standard at a state qualifying meet, which I like, that we've got to have those standards set there where it can't be somebody just rolling and there was
Right.
nobody officials there or anything. It just, oh yeah, my kid went 14,
Yeah.
so.
I think too that over the years it has, the way to qualify has not changed since 1987. That's when we implemented that. Now, because of automatic qualifying standards, wind gauges, we've added that to the requirement to be a certified meet, which is a qualifying meet. We use the term certified meet, and it's made the quality of track meets in Arkansas better, because if you want to have a meet in Arkansas, you want it to be certified. So our people are not going to come to it probably, because people want to come to a meet that they can get their kids automatically qualified. So as a result, the quality of meets in Arkansas, I know a state near Arkansas that don't have qualifying standards. They're still doing hand timing in lots of areas.
Wow.
I talked to a
didn't
coach
re- I
the other
thought
day
everybody was
in Southwest Arkansas, went across the border to meet, all hand time. Another coach that had moved from a school in Texas said, we always hand time. So there's still a lot of hand time in some border states.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
I did too.
But
Maybe not big meets, real huge meets, not their state meet, but their invitational meets. Like he said, there's no reason for the automatic standards, because it doesn't have anything to do with them qualifying for state anyway.
Right. Well, and again, I think though, taken away in that FAT timing has made a difference too, and takes a lot of guesswork out, because you're sitting there seeing it on the camera, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
Yes.
There's the time. A lot of these McDonald timing and Y timing, they've got the automatic wind gauges now that hook to their
Right.
computer that gets the reading. A lot of those that, instead of having to go have someone sitting there by a wind gauge, which you do at long jump and triple
Yes.
jump, you've got that gauge there. But that has helped tremendously too, is having that one that hooks into the computer and knows, okay, we did the 100-meter dash plus 2 or minus 1 or whatever. It's there, and that person doesn't have to put that in like they do when they get the field events, the triples and the longs. They have to pull that off the sheet and enter all that.
Right. In the early days of the qualifying standards, the event, you might guess which event would get the most automatic qualifying standards. It was the 100-meter dash, because we didn't have wind gauges then. And an athlete would get on a nice windy day, had a tailwind, and he would reach qualifying standard. Wasn't a big deal, because when he got running with the other guys, he usually got beat anyway. But now we got the wind gauges. If the wind is over the allowable of 2 meters per second, that qualifying standard doesn't count. Of course, it's kind of bad luck if you happen to be in a triple jump and you jump a good jump, but it was wind aided. Sorry, it doesn't count, and it's a good thing. So track meets are very important that they have the wind gauges and they use them properly and enter that wind gauge for each jump, and for that 100 and 200 meters and the 100 and 110 hurdles. Those running events, those 3 running events, the hurdles, the short hurdles, the 100, the 200, and of course the long jump and triple jump must have wind gauge reading, and it has to be less than the allowable, has to be 2.2 meters per second or less.
Well, I think, we're talking about technology. Back in the day, today you can wait till 12 noon and go, okay, have all your entries in and that, and they hit a button, boom, there's all the information. You want them in how many heats, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Where you and I, we used to have to handwrite it in.
Oh, man.
Everybody had to send in what they were going to do. And I would spend from 8 at night to 1 in the morning heating all that for the Jessville relays when we had 22 schools coming.
Yeah.
And that would take forever. I can remember I was taking school law, and I was doing it out of the math and science school, kind of like Zoom now, but it was there. And I was working on the Jessville relays. It was on a Wednesday. We had the junior high, I heated all that. Well, Wednesday and I was in there doing it, and Dr. Roebuck goes, Pierce, what are you doing? She could see on camera. I said, I'm heating a track meet. She said, well, you tell me what I've been talking about in school law. I told her everything. She said, okay, keep doing what you're doing. But we had to get that done.
Yeah.
Now today it's just hit a button, boom.
Right.
And the scoring, we had the big things and how we had it, the boxes squared off, and they got 18 points and
Little slashes in there
and
is what you got, and that's your total.
some of these young folks don't understand
Right.
the amount of work that used to go into it. But golly, now it's so awesome that you can just wait.
If you have to reheat, like in our state meet or conference meets, we're required to keep the fast heat full.
Cool, yeah.
And if somebody scratches out of the fast heat, you pull them up. Well, back in the day, I can remember having to reheat everything by hand there before the race.
Yes.
And just getting after it. And you had to know which was the number one lanes, look at who their best performance was. Now all you got to do is delete, reheat,
That's it.
print.
Yeah. It's
Much easier today. than it
much
was to be.
easier. So that's technology's awesome like that. And again, I think that's helped track.
As long as it
and
works.
field. Yeah. When it's down, it's a definite. But I was going to say the companies that do that though, Wide Timing and McDonald Timing and the ladies at Genoa and the people at
Holder,
Heber that
Kathy
know
Holder.
how to do it,
Yeah.
they don't have many breakdowns.
Right.
It's schools that have their own, which that's great that they can afford it, but they only do 2 track meets a year, and they kind of forget and that,
Yeah,
and
it's
they have the
tougher.
hiccups and that. Where these other folks, man, they do it
Doing
daily.
3 or 4 a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just nothing to them
Yeah.
to do those type things.
Right. And you get the real winner too. Back in the day, picking the 100, 110 meter hurdles, that's tough, especially the middle ones. It's easier to get number one, but 3, 4. I mean, you're just looking. You're relying on the human eye to pick who you thought was second, third, fourth, and fifth. It can be tough. I mean, you do the best you can.
Yes, sir.
But nowadays you got that camera and you put it right on them.
Well, Carl, let's kind of get into some results. And again, I know a lot of y'all see it on mile split, but Carl's so good about checking. You know, we've got some stuff already top 10 in Arkansas forever.
Yeah.
Already have been broken this year.
First meet of the year.
The best times ever in Arkansas has already started to happen. So
We got some 2026ers on there. Well, first I want to remind you, we had the state meets. Meet of Champs this year is on Wednesday, May the 13th in Russellville. And the decathlon, we discussed that the other day, is in Northwest Arkansas, but it's at Harbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
On now May 20th and 21st.
Yep.
Right.
Northwest Arkansas. I've been at Fayetteville a few years, and I think Harbor picked up to want to do it this year. So, beautiful place to go up there and take your family and watch 2 days of track and field of some really outstanding athletes performing.
Yes. Yeah.
Men and women.
Trying to get it to come up. I was relying on the internet here, but I do have some of the meets. But we have several athletes that have already reached in the top 10 all-time best performances this season. One that comes to mind is the Newman kid. We missed his 61-foot shot put. He's also thrown 184, I think, in the discus.
Wow. And he's a sophomore.
No,
No,
had
no.
that wrong.
Okay.
There was some confusion last year about him, and somebody had told me it's junior high. Anyway, he's a senior.
Senior.
He's a
Okay.
senior,
Well, I
yeah.
was going to say, if you're throwing that as a sophomore, I can't wait to see what's going to happen down the road.
Yeah, yeah,
But he
I-
is a senior. Okay. Well, that makes
There was a little
sense then.
confusion on that, and that was my fault. But I do have meets coming up for this week offhand. Maybe I can get online here in a moment and see some of the top performances.
Pardon the interruption. I am meeting our baseball team, please. Dismiss at this time.
Baseball
Thank
got
you.
baseball on the way out here.
Let 'em outta here.
They got to go. I know they did track a while ago when we came up. They were releasing the track people.
All
to get
right,
out. So
yeah.
baseball and track here at Fountain Lake, they on the move.
And speaking of going to track meets, this week there's a bunches of meets today at the junior high. But the high school meets, most of them are Thursday this week. I'll run down for them. You got the Ashdown Panther relays, Domtar relays. You got the Bearcat relays in Brooklyn, the Gail Hanley relays in Waldron, named after Miss Hall of Fame Gail Hanley.
Yeah.
Harding Multi events, the Brian Phillips invite in Searcy. That's a college meet on the 9th and the 11th through the 11th. You've got Jerry Roberts Memorial at Valonia. You got the Lake Hamilton Invitational at Lake Hamilton. Parker's Chapel in El Dorado. That's at Parker's Chapel High School. You have P Ridge, Prescott Merchant Relays, and next page here. Piggott is having a meet. The Senior Owl Relays in McGee. The Sand Lizard Relays at Dardanelle. And the Air and Staff Relays. I thought it was Airedale first.
Oh.
It's at Green Forest. The Acadia Invitational in California. I don't know if we got anybody going out there or not. Wouldn't be surprised. Somebody gets some really good competition there. And I like this meet. It's got one of the neatest names ever. The Don Pierce Lakeside Relays.
Okay.
Right across town here, named after our buddy Don Pierce. Fayetteville Bulldog Relays, the Houston Track and Field Classic in Germantown, Tennessee, the Arkansas Spring Invitational at the University of Arkansas.
Yep.
That's a college meet there.
Yeah, I know what U of A's having theirs this weekend, and then Harding, like I said, collegiately, they're doing a multi on Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday will be their running events up there. So if anybody's in that area, it'd be go watch some. And like I said, lots of Arkansas kids running for those schools.
Yes, they are.
Hardings, they'll be
Yep.
using stuff that are going to be there to run. So if you wanted to get there to see those
Yeah.
type things.
I saw some of our some girls yesterday, some of our Lake Hamilton girls. We had a 7th and 8th grade meet at Lake Hamilton, and some of those girls are going to Harding for a meet this weekend. I can't get the meets coming up from results, but if you can look on the Arkansas Track Coaches Association website, that's artrackcoaches.com, go to all-time best performance, go to records, all-time best performances, and look, you already see a bunch of 2026s in there. Many of them are in the top 10. And our boy from Bentonville, Brian Burns, is it Brian? No, it's his dad. Burns is not yet to run an outdoor meet so far. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Arcadia meet. But, they're going to have to go somewhere to get him from competition. But
Well, I know we're looking at possibly next week maybe visiting with a collegiate coach from a school, maybe a UCA or a Henderson or what on that, or maybe talk to a thrower from Bentonville or talk to a distance runner from Bentonville. We've Fountain Lake team here said they could get that for us, so we can step up our game and be able to talk to some folks off that and get that out in front of you on that end. We finally kind of got rolling. We were a little late in getting out some YouTube, and that was not on Fountain Lake. That was on me of getting that information on YouTube. But they've done a great job, the broadcasting class, of getting this put together. But again, we love our set. We hope to do a little bit better far as that's me, of getting that on YouTube. We still got our equipment. Hopefully we can get to some meets. And I know
be audio only on those.
right.
Yeah.
Get state track meets, maybe where you're at or I'm at, and maybe get a coach to maybe do some
did
stuff.
some of that
'Cause we'll
last
be
year.
working, either refereeing or starting the meets. But
When I did the 5A meet last year, we were able to get the meet of champs. Even though I was working it, we were able to get it done anyway. And some breaks there. But we had some coaches. We had several college coaches last year. Had some we just timing wouldn't get right. We still need to get some of those, like you said, UCA, UALR, and some other universities. We'd like to get some coaches in there.
But we are short on time on my part because I've got to get to a track meet to referee today. But we hope to bring you hopefully next week a live person on our Track is Our Field, and be able to bring you that. If any of you coaches out there, if you got a workout that you really like, get a hold of Carl and I. We'll talk about it. If there's something special that y'all do that we'd like to share, because it's the only way other coaches are going to learn. That's one thing I love about track and field. We always share. I'd get on the coach, talk about, hey, Leon White, give me a hurdle drill. I got this kid that could be really special, but he's trail leg here, and he'd show me some drills, and that kid got better. Maury Sanders, hey, Maury, I'm having a problem, kids here, there. Maury would go, hey, if you adjust this, do that, man, boom. It's about getting kids better. It's not about, well, I don't want anybody to know my workouts, and I don't want to know what drills I do. I always love to share what little bit of knowledge I had, but I always love to reach out and get that knowledge and make my kids better. So coaches, if you got some great workouts you think would benefit or some drills, let us know. We'd be glad to say, hey, call Maury Sanders at this number if you want to know something about this or whatever. Just reach out to us, and we'll make that contact happen. Carl, you got anything?
I think you knew more than a little bit there, Don. But I got a couple of rules questions, maybe some myths that's been floating around for years. I'd like to share. I don't think we did this before, but what do you call it when an athlete, say the long jump, and he steps over the board? What is that called?
A foul?
A foul. So many people think it's a scratch, but it's a foul. A scratch is when an athlete is entered. Say Don Pierce is entered in the pole vault, decides not to enter, he's scratched. That's the only time we use the word scratch. When you throw the discus, lands on the sector line, that's a foul. If you knock the high jump bar off, it's a foul, right?
Right.
What do you call it when an athlete in the high jump clears the bar, comes out under the bar when he exits the pit?
Good.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's good.
You can exit wherever you want. What about entrance? Shot putter enters the shot put from the front of the ring, throws it, it lands in the sector. After it lands, he steps out the back of the ring. That's called?
I give him a white flag.
It's a fair throw. You can enter the ring anywhere you want. So many people think you can't do
But
that.
you do have to exit the ring under control.
Exit the ring from the back. Enter wherever you want to. Right. Anyway, those are some common myths that we have.
And I want some of the parents that might be watching this in the high jump as we went there on that. If your child hits the bar and it's vibrating and he's in the pit, there's no need to holler, get out of the pit before it falls, because if you are, it's okay. No. That's an official's judgment. If he feels like, and your kid's has made it up in the stands and that bar falls off and the official thinks that was due to your kid hitting the bar,
It's a miss.
it's a miss. Again, that's still, even today,
We still have people
that
think
people
that.
are screaming, get out of the pit, get out of the pit. That has
Almost
nothing-
every meet I go to, you hear somebody.
you know,
Yeah.
but so let you know that it's not about, if you're in the pit, out of the pit, and the official determines that by you hitting the bar, that's what caused it to fall, that's
Right.
what it is.
All you got to do is jump off of 1 foot and clear that bar. Getting out of the pit is not part of the skill of this thing.
And the same thing in the pole
You can
vault.
lay there.
Some things in the pole vault on a bad windy tailwind day, and they throw the pole back, and the pole comes back and hits the bar and knocks it off. Again, that's an
Official's
official's judgment. Now, the vaulter was lazy and maybe didn't push and try to make that attempt. Then, that's up. And,
Yes.
and as a referee, that's a judgment call.
Right.
That's thing that we as officials can't overturn that judgment
Right.
of that pole vault official. That's a judgment. We can't make, as referees, a change on a judgment call.
Right.
Now, the rules are being misapplied.
Right.
That we can make in the 4x100. If that official judges they were out of the exchange zone, and I can't look at video.
Unless it's the official video.
Right. But, that
Right.
we've designated an official, but mom and dad can't run up and go, here it is, here it is. I'm sorry. We can't overdo.
Right.
We can't look at that one. But those are just little things that
Yep.
people may not understand about track that happens. We have officials there for a reason,
Right.
and we have to, on a judgment call as a referee, we can't overrule that. So
I got one more on the field events, and these are kind of trivial. It really doesn't matter too much, but the right terminology is good. Saying foul instead of scratch, it's good. That's what the proper term is. And another one is, if you say Carl Kuntz is up in the pole vault, Maury Sanders is on deck, Don Pierce is
on hold.
on hold.
Not in a
HOLD.
hole. Not in a
Not
hole.
in a hole.
That's what it
On
always
hold.
had been over the years. Don Pierce in the hole. Well, no, I'm not in the hole. I'm on
No.
hold.
HOLD. You go to a track meet, you're probably going to hear those event judges say in the hole, but that's the incorrect terminology.
And
Oh, my
hey, we're
goodness.
going to end with a tune there for you. We've kind of hit our 30 minutes there, and we don't want to find late students. They will be late for their last class of the day. They may be glad. I don't know. I was glad when I missed class. But anyway, we look forward to getting back with you and have some results from this week's track meets. And Carl, you got anything else you want to finish up?
That's it for today, I think. But we'll look forward to next week for some more information. And we'll, again, look at the Arkansas Track Coaches Association. Look at all-time best performances. It's just interesting to look at it from years past. Bukus of 2025, already some 2026s.
And hit the subscribe button. It's not costing you a dime. We're not saying, hey, $5 to hear us. We just want to subscribe, so maybe that would build up, and so people would start coming in that like track
More
and
people
field.
find out. Yep.
More people would find out about it. But until next week, good luck and good running.